regards to ESG, DEI, CEI, all this stuff, the other day we're kind of sitting around and we're looking at the next episode to shoot, and we're seeing the ties with ESG, DEI, CEI, and then you look at CEI, that Corporate Equality Index, who's behind it, who's giving the scoring. Are you concerned about the direction they're going with ESG, DEI, CEI? You think this is going to work, or you think eventually people are going to be like, listen, the hell are you doing with this Bud Light? This was a dumb move. What are you doing, Ford Raptor?
Yeah.
Do you even make Hollywood? You just made an announcement that a third of everybody you hire has to be from an underrepresented community, and I have to hire a Black, a Hispanic, a woman, a LGBT, a this, a that, and even Richard Dreyfuss and actors are coming out and saying this doesn't make any sense. Do you think this is eventually going to be exposed as a terrible idea, or do you think this is going to be used as a way to weaponize small business owners and S&P 500 companies?
Both. I think that it is already being. So the fact that you've got some of the biggest actors in history, or in our time at least, actually, maybe for the first time coming out and speaking out against this stuff is pretty powerful. And I think it is starting to expose the hypocrisy and the insanity of it. And I think there's already evidence showing how it is being manipulated and weaponized. So they talk about these things with these very altruistic, idealistic intentions and objectives. We're working for equity without, the clip of Bernie Sanders on Bill Maher, the conversation they had about equity versus equality was very telling, when Bill Maher had to describe to Bernie, what equity really means. And he said, so what is it, equity or equality? And Bernie says, well, equality. There are these acronyms that are being thrown out by people as though it's for the best public good. Many of them don't even know what it actually means. And we've seen with the ESG some of the scoring and things that have been done that are show that it's being manipulated for other interests than the public good they are claiming it to be. So I think both are already starting to be exposed as we speak.
That's good. The sooner the better, because it's not really making leaders make the right decisions. Is this a clip you're talking about, the equality?
I think so.
Can we
Let's see what this is.
Yeah,
I actually want to see it. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
Are we confusing equality of opportunity with trying to guarantee equity in outcomes? Okay, that's interesting, because
By far the best
I think
hairdo.
this word equity has
Bernie
come into the
Sanders.
language in the last few years, and before that we didn't hear it a lot. And I think a lot of people hear equity and they hear equality. That like it's the same word, and it's not the same word in the same
I believe this is the episode
concept.
with Russell
So
Brand.
how would you differentiate between equity and
Is that
equality?
him there? Yeah.
Well, equality, we talk about, I don't know what the answer is.
I was going to say, you can tell he doesn't even know
Tell
what
me to
this
think
is.
of it. Equality is equality of opportunity. All right? We live in a society, we want all people to have whatever color your skin is.
Equity, I think, is more a guarantee of outcome, is it not?
I think so. I think that's
Okay. So which side do you come down on?
equality.
Equality.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Boys, any comment on that one?
I just don't know if that's the definitional difference.
We can.
Oh my God, that was
But
great.
it's good. It's very straightforward. And I think he's right. I think a lot of people don't know the difference, but they're using these words because it's the thing that everybody's saying, and it's the popular thing of the moment.
Did you ever think there would come a time where, the feminist movement has tried so hard to, get to a point where it's men and women are equal, right? Hey, we want equal pay. We want you to watch WNBA, whether you like it or not. We want the same amount of viewers. We want you to pay us the same amount of money. We want you to give us the same amount of respect, all this stuff. And then they get so wild and crazy that even the feminist movement ends up losing to men because they allow men to join their camp and just call themselves. Did you ever think this day was going to come?
No, never.
Tulsi, how did we get here? This is a little weird for me. How did we get here?
It is. I mean, it is this mental illness that is taking over our society, where things that are not real are being sold as real. Things that are not true are being sold as true. And it's this exercise of power. And this is the underlying danger that sits beneath all of these crazy things, is that those who are in power across, government, not all of these different entities, are putting us in a position where we are being told that we just have to comply and go along with whatever they say. that there is no room for critical thinking or questioning or common sense or science or biology even, that whatever they say goes, and we have to just fall in line. And that's the real danger that is the common thread with all of these crazy examples that we're seeing that aren't just, they're not theoretical. It's not just for the sake of arguments. We're actually seeing the very real impacts on kids, on our society, on our communities.
Don't they call it the woke mind virus? Do you think that's an appropriate name for this?
I do.
What's next, though? I guess, we had a gentleman here, I think I can say gentleman, Frank from Gays Against Groomers, and we're having a great conversation with him. And I said, so we talked about the uncomfortable conversations that nobody wants to talk about because God knows they could lose votes and they can lose this and this and that. And I'm like, look, at first, when somebody, I'm gay or I'm lesbian, I'm this, okay. There was a certain connotation. There was a certain hey, this is not a normal behavior. But we said, military, don't ask, don't tell. I was in a unit with a couple guys that were gay. It's very easy to tell when you're in the showers. Like, hey, bro, you okay? Is everything okay with you? You seem a little excited. And then you find out 6 months later, now I know why you're always fired up. Okay, you should have told us so we would have had different schedules for showers.
I'm fired up, Pat. I'm ready to go fight.
Little awkward. You're like, dude, I don't know what he's seeing that he's so excited about. And we would always talk about it. Finally, we laughed about it. But, it was a don't ask, don't tell type of a situation. Today, we have to salute. We have to do this. We have to do that. And then all of a sudden, the more and more and more, we kept buying into this concept of, but it's normal, but it's normal, but it's normal, it's normal. And I got a book upstairs saying it's normal. Millions of copies sold. It's a book for 10-year-olds in school on how boys have sex with boys and how girls have sex with girls and how boys have sex with girls and all this stuff. Okay, it's not the gay BC, it's the other one. It's called It's Normal, something like that. But I asked this question because when the camera's off, people are willing to talk about this more openly. When the camera's on, everybody's a little bit careful about it. It's perfectly normal. That's the book. Everybody's a little bit careful about it because what if this and what if that and what if this, right? It isn't the reason why we kind of got here where Sports Illustrated, I have no problem with Martha Stewart. She actually looks good for an 81-year-old. Go to the other
how
one.
Old she is?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently 81. I thought I was.
She looks great for 81. On the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Respect. But do the guy that's wearing this one piece. Do you know which one I'm talking? You know which one I'm talking about.
First, Adidas. I think it was Adidas.
Is it Adidas? Can you go to Adidas? Folks, just bear for it's a little bit strange, this model. Anyways, I guess I will find it here, the picture. Do you think it's a little strange that the more and more and more accepting we become, gradually the next thing they could pitch is the fact that a 44-year-old ends up being with somebody who is 13 years old? Well, guess what? That's just what it is. That's who they accept. And, it's normal. It's normal. We should accept the fact that they love each other. And some people say, well, you're out of your mind. This will never happen. We'll never get there. Nobody ever thought we're going to get here.
Well, it's already happening. It's already happening. The normalization of pedophilia. The fact that there is such a term as a minor attracted person.
Oh, my God.
The fact that is a term that's being used and assigned to people who are adults who are, quote unquote, attracted to minors. Yeah, that's a pedophile. That's a crime against a child. And those criminals should be locked up and kept away from children.
How are Democrats supporting that, though?
That's my point. I have not heard a single Democrat in Congress, in the House or the Senate, speak out against this nonsense. And their response is always like, oh, it's a non-issue. Like, these things only affect a handful of people. They don't actually speak to or address what is happening and how we have people who are teachers who are out there and they're on social media saying, well, I'm a minor attracted person. I shouldn't be discriminated against anyway. This is people who are entrusted with the well-being and safety of our kids. So this progression that you're talking about is very, very real. And the fact that it is happening not only with the acceptance but encouragement of the very same people who are totally fine with these books that are sexualizing kids as young as 5, 6, 7 years old. I'm not a parent, But parents everywhere, people who care about children everywhere, should be stepping up and speaking out about against it.
Can I ask you a question on this topic? So back to the LGBTQIA plus, all this stuff. Dave Chappelle has an amazing take on this, amazing joke. And he basically gives the metaphor that they're all in a car together, they're heading in the same direction, but they all have completely different agendas.
Yeah.
Like the L is different from the B versus the G versus the T. And he basically, summarizing this is like the G's driving because that's the gay guy and he's driving and he's the man, whatever. And then the L is sitting in the front seat and she's doing her thing and everybody loves the L's. Because, who doesn't like the L's except for the G because he's like, I wouldn't wear that, this whole deal. And then the B is in the back and she's just like, listen, I'll do whatever anyone wants in this car. But then you get to the T's. And the whole premise of his joke is like, nobody's got a problem with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But this T thing, that's where people are like, what's the T? Are you a guy or a girl? You're cutting things off. You're moving things around. You're a man, but you want to play in women's sports. And I'm one of the people that are like, I think that women should be more outspoken about this.
I agree.
So, I host another show, Soscast, and I have a lot of women on my show, and I do a lot of man on the street interviews, and I'll ask them a series of questions about money and dating and relationships, and then I'll say, hey, by the way, what are your thoughts on biological men playing in women's sports? And that's the one question that women are like, I don't want to answer that on camera. I don't really want to talk about it. And then, all right, cool, next question. And then the interview's over and they're like, listen, I didn't really want to talk about it, but I think it's really freaking weird. And I don't want to share bathrooms with guys. And, I just don't want to offend people and say this stuff on camera. But just between you and me, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm like, why wouldn't you say that on camera? Well, cancel culture, this, that, and the other. Why do you think young women specifically are so afraid to speak on this topic?
I think it is that power of self-censorship that has been, that it's kind of a mandate of self-censorship that if you don't go along to get along, then you will be canceled and you'll be attacked and you'll be called names and you will be smeared. Bethany Hamilton is a surfer out of Hawaii. Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about. She had her arm bitten off by a surfer, a shark when she was a kid.
Yep.
Still competing on the circuit. And once the World Surf League announced biological males will be allowed to compete against women on the tour, she was the only one who had the courage to speak out. She never talks about politics. She is so pleasant, so mellow, doesn't get involved with any of the headlines or anything that goes on, but she recognized that she had a responsibility to speak up, and she did, and she got attacked heavily for it, which I think she expected, and she spoke out in the sweetest, kindest, most compassionate way, just saying that I'm not against anyone, but this is about what's fair and what's right for women on the tour, and it's just not right. Shortly after that, International Women's Day came around, and every year the WSL welcomes professional surfers, men who want to put the name of a prominent woman who inspires them on the back of their jersey for the contest on that day. I think there were 5 or 6 men who wanted to put Bethany Hamilton's name on their jersey that day, and the WSL said no.
Wow.
You are not allowed to put her name alone on your jersey.
A woman's name.
A woman's name.
Yeah.
A woman who has, throughout her lifetime, exceeded all of the obstacles put before her and is thriving as a human being, as a professional surfer, because she had the audacity to speak out the truth. Mm-hmm. This was the consequence. It's good to see. I think slowly, it's not happening fast enough, but slowly there are more women who are being directly impacted, inspired by people like Riley Gaines and Bethany Hamilton.
I was just going to bring up
others.
Riley Gaines. The same story is almost like that,
right.
Just in the swimming with Leah Thomas.
Absolutely.
This whole deal.
But they're inspiring a lot of other women, girls to recognize how powerful their voice can be.
Just in case you guys are looking to buy some gifts for some friends, this is the latest swimwear from Adidas. If you want to open it up,
girl.
If you want to zoom in a little bit, Rob. That kind of sounded bad. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be funny, but that's a little weird. Okay, I don't care what.
Very weird.
It's a little weird. Okay, for them to try to normalize this is extremely weird. But you know what this does to them?
It says home women clothing.
There we go.
Yep.
Do you know what this does to them? This increases their CEI score, their ESG score.
Right.
That's what this does.
What is this? I'm familiar with DEI, ESG. This is a new one now, CEI?
By the way, here's the craziest thing about CEI. CEI is a form of a DEI. You know, DEI is what? Diversity, equity, inclusive, the whole thing. CEI is Corporate Equality Index. And the ones that give the scores to them is a company called HRC. HRC stands for Human Rights
Hillary
Campaign.
Rodham Clinton. Oh,
HRC is Human Rights Campaign. Here's the crazy part. You ready for this?
Yeah.
They got started in '84. You know who funds Human Rights Campaign?
George Soros.
It's funded by Open Society Foundation.
Okay.
Do you know who runs Open Society Foundation?
George Soros.
George Soros.
Oh, so yeah, there we go.
Yeah, literally. And they come to your company and they measure the score. Only 20 companies have a perfect score of 100. And they'll come back and say, here's what you need to do to improve. They have a whole structure, by the way. Workforce protection, 5 points possible. No discrimination.
This is called the woke rating?
Yeah, it's called the woke rating. You've not seen this?
No.
Yeah, it's called the woke rating. Rob,
that's not a joke, though?
This is as sincere as real as it gets. Rob, I'm going to send this to your computer. If you want to show this, Rob, iPhone, or I'm going to send it to your iPhone just to show this, and then we'll wrap up on this topic here. No, this is exactly how they are scoring different companies' workforce protection. That gives you 5 points. Inclusive benefits, 50 points. Criteria here includes providing health care for same-sex couples, supporting an inclusive culture, 25 possible points, including gender-neutral dress codes, and trans-inclusive restroom facilities policies. Number 4 is corporate social responsibility. You get 20 points. Marketing or advertising to LGBTQ consumers, which include Nike and Bud Light's use of transgender spokesperson Dylan Mulvaney. That's crazy. And then number 5 is responsible citizenship, 25 points deducted if a company gives money to organizations whose primary mission includes advocacy against LGBTQ organizations, which is not defined, but could include Christian groups.
Wow.
Any final thoughts on this, Tulsi? I'll give you the floor if you got anything.
I want to show the way things used to be just a few years ago. Did you see the Levi's skit on SNL? The
about the moms?
About
Which
the
one?
pants.
Yeah, mom pants?
Yes, the mom pants.
Oh, yeah. Great skit. I don't know if we're allowed to play it, though. Because if it's SNL, I take it down.
All right. Anyway.
About like, hey, we're moms.
Yeah.
We wear mom pants.
Well, and it was all about gender neutral. It was really pointing out the farce of everything that you just talked about. Just 5 years ago, SNL made a great skit.
5 years ago.
5 years ago, SNL made a great skit about it, making fun of Levi's shapeless, genderless pants. And rightly so.
Yeah.
Mom pants. I got to go see the clip.
Last question on this topic. I just want to ask you a question about just normal, old school, traditional women, you know? Yeah. This is a political question, but, yourself, you look at Kamala Harris, current VP, Hillary Clinton, almost president. A lot of people say AOC could potentially be a candidate in a handful of years, whether you like her or not. There's other women that have run recently, Carly Fiorina. A lot of people are, advocates of Marjorie Taylor Greene, what have you. How ready do you think America is for a female president now?
I think America is ready for the right woman president. Some of the, I think it's wrong to assume, and this has been one of the insulting things that I've experienced even from within the Democratic Party, is that they assume this sounds ironic saying this now, that they have reduced women to our biological parts to say, well, if you're a woman, you have to support women. That was the whole argument with Hillary Clinton, right? For me, I didn't support her. And literally, I was asked by some of the most powerful women and influential women in the country, how dare you, as a woman, not support this other woman? And my response was, how dare you reduce me to my biological parts and think that I don't have my own brain, my own mind, my own opinions and views? And yet, where are we today now? They deny this biological objective truth that there is such a thing as a woman at all. It's just madness.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.